Howdy. So good to see you this morning. Thanks for coming out through the blizzard. There's only a few of us here, but we're a room full of people. Today and next Sunday and the following Sunday, I'll be talking about relationships. And each one of them will be a little bit different aspect, a little bit different viewpoint of relationships, and it will culminate on the last Sunday with a 3-hour workshop on relationships. This could be the most powerful series that you will ever in your entire life encounter. And the reason I say that is that there isn't anything else in the world but relationships. That's all there is. Relationships between us and relationships between us and our world, us and our environment. And unless that relationship with us and our environment and us and each other are flowing, then we are out of grace. And when we fall out of grace, trouble starts. Lots and lots of trouble starts. I was working in Taiwan, and I'd been doing seminars in Taiwan for quite a while, and they were always large rooms full of people, and these were 5-day seminars, so pretty intense. And on the first day of this particular seminar, I looked out into the audience, and I saw a woman sitting there, and it actually scared me because her face was gray. I mean, it was gray. That's not a description of it looked grayish. Her face was gray. And when I was in the emergency medicine business, I saw a lot of dead people. She looked dead. And if she hadn't been sitting up with her eyes open, I would have thought she was dead. I found out that she had only a few weeks to live. She had severe cancer that had metastasized throughout her total system. And she was dying. And her daughter, who had come to one of my previous seminars, said, "Mom, come and just go to this seminar. It can't hurt you." So even though she was weak, she came, God bless her, and she sat up and she paid attention. And that seminar, 5-day intensive seminar, which a few of you in this room have actually taken, that intensive 5-day seminar does a lot of things to open your mind, but the most important thing it does is it brings out the love light in you, brings that love light out of your heart and shines it out into the world. And as it shines out into the world, so does it shine into you, because it has to come through you to go out from you. And if you don't let it go out from you, it doesn't come in to you. The love light. Another name for grace. Amazing grace, divine grace. The beautiful grace that heals us. Well, I went back to Taiwan a month or so later, and the people gave me a newspaper that I couldn't read, but I saw the picture of this woman in it, and the newspaper had been blown up and was in great big panels on the walls in the training room. And I said, "What is this?" The woman was free of cancer, and she was back in the seminar because she said, "Whatever I got, I need more of it." And she looked great. And then we began to work, and then I began to talk to her. And she had, since she was a little girl, never ever felt loved. No, she felt like she had a place in her family. I mean, she made the rice and she did the clothes and she did the stuff that she was supposed to do. But she never ever felt the flow of love through her. And because she hadn't been feeling it coming into her, now listen, because this is really important, because she hadn't been feeling it coming into her, eventually she stopped letting it go out of her. In other words, in her family, people weren't appreciating her. They weren't looking up to her. They weren't treating her like a special, unique individual in embodiment of the great life of love, of power, of God. They weren't seeing that in her. And so she stopped putting that out. She just did her daily thing. Anybody that you know, just bring them to mind that's ever been like this. They get up in the morning and they just go about doing their little thing. And then when they get through doing their little thing for the day, they go to bed and get up the next day and do their little thing. But nothing goes out from them. They aren't reaching out into the world. So see, if you will, today, a giant jigsaw puzzle. Giant. There's right now about 5 to 6 billion pieces in this jigsaw puzzle called the human race. And no two pieces are the same. So if in fact I say, that guy's really cool, I want to be like him, then I go try to push my piece into that little slot and it doesn't fit. The corners bend up and you know, you've done this before. Thank you, scissors. And a lot of people do that, don't they? They just cut themselves into a shape that'll fit, and then they're never there themselves, but there they are. I'm an attorney, and I'm an attorney because my father was an attorney, and my grandfather was an attorney, and because of that I moved into the office, and I now am a senior partner in this, and I have cut all my corners off in order to fit into this place. When I was a sea captain, I went to San Francisco to see a dear friend of mine who was an attorney and have lunch with him. And he had an accountant that was there, and he asked the accountant to go to lunch with us. And so we went to lunch together, the accountant and the attorney and I. And they were, and constantly this accountant was asking questions like, what is it like? And when you dive in under the sea, and when you go down on a seamount that's never been seen before, and what are the fish like and the coral like, and are there sharks, and is it frightening, and what is it like at night on the sea, and did you ever see a whale jump, and just on, and it was kind of fun for me because I got a chance to express all the things that I felt about the ocean and about under the ocean that were so incredibly, powerfully adventurous and beautiful. And so it was fun for me, and it seemed to be fun for the two of them. And when we went back to the office, as I said goodbye, the accountant, as I started toward the door, said, Bob, when you're out on the ocean, think of me, will you? Think of this sea captain locked up in the body of an accountant. If you have a poll, if you take a poll of all the people across the world and say, is this job that you're doing the job that you were born to do? What percentage would say yes? Pretty small, wouldn't it? It'd be pretty small. But the reason that we find ourselves fitted into those places is because we don't know who we are as that unique and individual piece of the puzzle. We don't know who we are. So we allow ourselves to be formed and manipulated and pushed into a position that's not really our position. And our whole lives then become this cut off, chiseled off, manipulated thing that we call life. And the way to get beyond that, the way to learn to trust who you are and to allow that to flow through you, the way to do that is to love. Is to love. Is to allow the power of love, the most powerful thing in the world, to flow through you. Mother Teresa was being given I believe the Nobel Peace Prize or something. Anyway, she was speaking before the Congress, and it was such an interesting thing for me to see because she got introduced with these long, windy speeches about this wonderful woman and the saint and all the things that she'd done, and now we'd like to introduce her finally, and she came up and got the microphone down to where she was and said something like this. I don't remember the exact words, but it was very brief, and it was something like this. All we are here to do is love. And when we forget that, we have disease and wars and poverty. And I ask you today to love and to teach love. Thank you. End. That's it. She said, I am but a small pen in the hand of God writing love letters to the world. Our relationships with each other, our relationships with the world, determine who we are. Not an accountant, not an attorney, not a minister, not a speaker, not a truck driver. Those are just hats we wear. Those aren't who we are. Those are clothes we put on. Those are costumes. Beneath the costume, who we are, this delicate snowflake, this blossom of life, this bath of stars in the midnight sky, this beautiful, incredible, unique, passionate, powerful, talented creator that you are, only comes out when you love. And in order to love, you have to trust. Because if you don't trust me, you can't love me. And if you don't trust your mate, you can't love them. And if you don't trust your country, you can't love it. And if you don't trust nature, capital N on nature, please. If you don't trust nature, you can't love it. If you don't trust yourself. So trust comes first and then love. So in the Bible, trust was called faith. Same thing. And the great master, Jesus, the great master, the great teacher, the Messiah is translated as teacher, the great teacher, said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you know how tiny that is? That's all. I mean, we're not asking for a lot here. If you just have, but we're talking about pure faith. Now, if we're only talking about the size of a mustard seed, it can't be, well, I'll trust you, I don't trust you, I'm not sure if I trust you. I trust you right now, but maybe I won't trust you tomorrow. You know, I can't say if I trust you. Trust is, it's got to be there all the way. Mustard seed side, but it's got to be complete, total trust. And if I trust you, and if I have faith, and I say to that mountain, Jesus said, move, it'll move. If you say to that cancer, go away, it'll go away. But you can't want to believe it. You can't want to trust it. You have to really trust it. You really have to trust. And you can't trust until you love, and you can't love until you trust. So you have to stop worrying about the bills and worrying about your health and worrying about your relationships and worrying about your children and worrying about your parents, because that's not trust. That dissolves your trust, and in the process dissolves your ability to love. You see, people have marriages and they get married and they live together for a while, and then one of them starts cheating or something happens and they begin to fall apart, and then they eventually they get divorced. And then I meet these divorced people and I talk to them, And they say, no, I'm not going there again. Well, do you have any primary purpose? No, I just don't want to do that again. I've been hurt too many times. I'm just not going to do that again. Get hurt again. Get hurt again and again and again and again. Get hurt every day. Whatever the price is you have to pay. Jesus, the man, got nailed up on the cross. That was a lot of pain. For what? For love. And while he was hanging up there on the cross, he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Forgive them. Still love, love, trust, love, trust, love. It's got to come through you before it can come to you. You want to be filled with light today? You want to be filled to the overflowing with joy today? You want to be filled constantly and totally and completely with the passion of life today? You want to be born again today? Then trust and love. Now let me just talk for a second about trust, just for a second, and then I'm going to get off of that. Your bills. Let's talk about your bills. We all get these bills, taxes and bills, and oh my God, this is due, and I can't pay all of this, and I can only pay part of that, and I don't know if I'm going to have enough money coming in. And so how old are you now? Just think of that number in your mind. And did you get to this point yet? I'm 75. Did I get to 75 yet? Well, yeah, I did. How many days and nights and months and years collectively did I worry about, can I pay my bills? Can I get this done? Will I get over this disease? Oh my God, is this lump cancerous? How many times have I gone through that? And here I am. So what was all that for? So what was all that worrying for? What was all that mistrust for? Did you make it? You made it. Did you ever starve to death? Not yet. You made it. You got all the way to here. So from here on, for the rest of this journey, let's just trust that it'll all be okay. Because you know it's going to be okay anyway, because it always has been okay. It always has been okay, and still is okay. And it's not going anywhere. So since you are here solidly, firmly placed in this thing called your life, you can now trust that it will continue on. And therefore you can relax your heart muscles and let the love flow out. And as it flows out, it will flow in. I'm reminded of two ladies that played softball, and one was a pitcher and one was a catcher, and they were sisters. And they'd played for years softball. And they loved the game, and they loved, it was just almost like their life, pitching and catching and playing softball. And one day, the catcher died, and the pitcher was really sad. And she went on, but with the catcher that didn't quite understand her, and so it wasn't the same. And then one day, early in the morning, the catcher appeared to her sister, the pitcher. She appeared to her, and they had a little conversation, and the pitcher said to the catcher, "What is it like? Are you in heaven?" She said, "I'm in heaven." She said, "What is it like there?" She said, "It's wonderful. We play softball every day. That's the good news." And the pitcher said, "Is there any bad news?" She said, "Well, yes, you're pitching this afternoon." So, in the years that I've been working, 35 years that I've been working in this field of enhancing and enriching human potential within individuals, more than 500,000 in 13 countries around the world. In the years that I've been doing this, I've come to realize that there really is only one thing, and that's relationships. And my relationship with you, listen, here's how this works. Here's a person here who has a relationship with this person here. Here's this person here who has this relationship with this person here. Now, my relationship with that person has nothing to do, listen now, has nothing to do with that person's relationship with me, unless I'm in mistrust. Because I can love you even if you don't love me. And I can bless you even if you don't bless me, even if you curse me. And I can be on your team even if you're not on my team. And by so doing, I began not only to form the part of the puzzle that I am, but I bless that person and encourage their soul to come out and play. So my job then is to become totally healthy. Totally healthy. A man came to one of my seminars and he was very much like the Chinese lady, and he was a tight, cold little man, just kind of shriveled up inside of himself. I can't now remember why he came. No doubt a relative brought him, and he was living in the VA hospital, and they had him hooked up on machines there, and because his heart was failing, his heart was just so bad. But he came to the seminar, I stayed at the seminar, and then they'd take him back to the VA hospital. And about 2 weeks after that, I got a letter from the doctor that was his cardiologist at the VA hospital saying that all of his cardiac problems seemed to have gone away. He said, I'm not saying that your seminar did that. I can't say that. All I'm saying is that he was on the point of death, and he went through your program, and now his heart is fine and healthy. It looks good on the EKG, looks good on ultrasounds. It's just a good, healthy heart. I don't know what could have happened, but I know what happened. The heart muscle relaxed and began to flow love out through it, and in so doing, it became healthy. The Cancer Research Institute down in Texas years ago, and they may still do this, they took only patients who had been declared terminal, who all the other doctors and all the other disciplines said there's really no hope for this person. Those are the only people that they took. And the first question they asked those clients when they came in, those patients when they came in, was, when did you decide to die? And here's the strange part. They never once got a return that said, what are you talking about, decide to die? Would I be here today trying to get healthy if I would decided to die? Of course I didn't. They never got that answer. People never missed a beat. They said, well, let's see, it was after my husband died, I think. They all knew. If you asked them, they knew. And what they'd actually said is, I stopped loving. And what this research institute found, that within 6 to 18 months after the loss, hear me now, of a central love object, unless that love object was replaced, the cancer began. So if you have a dog, and then you're living alone, but you've got this big old licky dog that you love, and you grab its ears, and you know I like dogs, I guess. And the dog dies, and you don't replace the dog, you're in danger. You're in danger. You've got to and if your loved one dies, and you shut your heart down and don't love again, you're in danger. You've got to keep that love flowing through you at all times. You've got to keep the relationships healthy. Your relationship with your world, your relationship with this universe that we live in, your relationship with me, your relationship with those people in your family. And you have to in order to be able to do that, you have to trust. Now, when my wife and I got married, incidentally, we didn't, and That's been a long time ago. How long is that, Mary? 1984, long time ago.
29 years ago.
Thank you. We never either one said in our marriage vows, I will forsake all others. I'll never have an affair or sex with another person. We never said that. Because that was saying today, projecting that out into the future for the rest of my life, what I might or might not do. Instead, we decided that every day we would trust each other. Every week we would trust each other. Every month we would trust each other. And my wife is a fox. So I think that she had a lot of opportunities. But it was real easy for us because we didn't say at one time, okay, I'll trust you and love you, okay, and then forgive. No, we said, today I trust you and love you, and today I trust, and today I marry you again, and today I say I do again, and today I trust you and love you. Every day, every day, every day. And that's the way it has to be in your relationships. And if somebody does something that you don't like, or something that hurts you, and they betray you, or they lie to you, or they lie about you, or they spread bad things against you, you have got to be able to forgive that. Forgive it. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to say today, and then I'm going to shut up. Promise. When Jesus was walking along with his buddies out in the fields, they said to him one day, how come you never taught us how to pray? John, that's John the Baptist, he taught his disciples how to pray, but you never taught us how to pray. And he said, okay, I'll teach you how to pray. And what he taught them was what we now call the Lord's Prayer. And at another time, we'll go deeply into the Lord's Prayer and what it really means. But right now, I'd just like for you to focus on one part of it. Forgive us our debts as we forgive each other. As. Biggest word in the world, as. If there's anyone, anywhere in your life that you haven't forgiven, completely forgiven, I love you, I set you free. Forgiven, I forgive you. If there's anyone, that the part of your consciousness, whether it's conscious consciousness or subconsciousness, the part of that consciousness that holds that rock, that holds that dark pus pocket of unforgiveness is killing you. It isn't hurting them at all, but it's killing you. And it takes a real big person to trust the world and to trust Great Spirit enough to say, that really doesn't matter. That thing that happened, that really doesn't matter. Today I'm a new person. Today I'm born again. I don't care about that. I bless you. I love you. Go away. It's fine. Doesn't mean I have to stay with them. Doesn't mean I have to let them keep beating on me. Doesn't mean I have to go through it again. Just means that happened. Let it go. Let it go. I love you.